them during the break.
Yeah, it's, LeBron passiveness, the coaching of just dropping the ball down to AD. There was no continuity, no flow to the offense. The pace of, the Lakers offense. Everything went wrong last night that I didn't like.
Yeah, it was clunky. They were clunky. Offensively, it was a little clunky. When LeBron and AD are at the 3 and the 4, and there's a center on the floor, you can tell that they're trying to figure out how to use Anthony Davis. How they ran, I think, 8 pick and rolls between them last night, which is not very many.
No.
And AD alternated between spacing out to the 3-point line and posting up one-on-one, old school, kind of effective, but it's not what we all envisioned, I don't think.
They did play him at center for a few minutes.
13 minutes, I think, last night.
Worked,
yeah.
But I know he doesn't want to play there. All right, that was your wild prediction from yesterday's show. Your wild predictions column, though, a little more serious, is up on ESPN.com and the app right now. And I wanted to run through a couple of them with you before the season kicks into full gear here. Zach, you said, quote, Giannis signs the Supermax if the Bucks make the finals. Doesn't if they don't. Remember, Giannis has 2 years left on his deal, so this doesn't mean that he wouldn't re-sign or be there, but obviously it's kind of like the AD situation, right? If he doesn't sign the Supermax, is the clock ticking then?
It's ticking, but I think it's less dire for Milwaukee if he doesn't sign the Supermax. Maybe a little bit less dire if he doesn't sign the Supermax. There's more of a chance he might actually stay another year and then re-sign a regular contract than AD was just out. AD was out.
You think that if Giannis turns down the Supermax, he would just give it another year?
First of all, let me give America the numbers. If this man turns down
it's a big number.
The Supermax.
Big number.
Giannis will be leaving 5 years, $253 million on the table. There's no way in hell he is turning down that on a team that's been competitive in the Eastern Conference for the last few years. No, I don't see it happening.
Well,
I hope you're right.
Right? The Supermax was designed for that. To keep such a big number that it would, in effect, bribe players to stay. Now, what we haven't seen happen is it has not worked to bribe them to stay with teams that
Everyone's turning it down. It's the hot new thing.
Right?
Turn down the Supermax.
Not 253.
But, obviously, if the team is doing well, then you'd think that he might sign it. You think, though, they'd have to make the playoffs for that time. In the finals, rather, for that time.
This is just my semi-educated prediction. I don't know what will happen.
That is
a wild.
T-Max says it's too wild. It's $253 million. All right, I want to get to your next wild prediction. You said Miami finishes 3rd in the East. This is, of course, assuming the Bucks and Sixers finish in the top 2. The Celtics actually have the 3rd best odds to win the East. So, Zach, why are you so much higher on the Heat?
Yeah, it's not even close either. Boston is the big favorite for that spot. I just like this weird, big, strange Heat team. I'm drinking the Heat Kool-Aid. Jimmy Butler is the best. If you compare the Heat and the Celtics, Jimmy Butler, I think, is the best player between those on those two teams. I think he's better than Kemba. I think it's close, but he wins a lot of regular season games. I like their mix of size and defense. If Tyler Hero's shooting is real, I kind of like that team. I have a little sweet spot for them.
No, I don't think so. My 3 teams are Philly, Milwaukee, and Boston.
Well, that's boring.
That's just what it's going to be, not Miami. That's your wild prediction. I don't see it happening. Okay. I'm sorry.
Look, obviously the Celtics are a big wild card, right? And we thought that them playing with Team USA going into this season was going to give them a good start at the beginning of the season. Team USA obviously didn't go so well.
That didn't work out.
So I am curious to see how they do. I think the Celtics are going to be a good regular season team. I do have concerns in the playoffs, but you guys are talking about seeding, so we'll see.
If they take an injury or something, 3-10 in the East has the potential to just go all sorts of different ways.
All right, speaking of wild predictions, Mac did have one yesterday. He said that Wilt Chamberlain...
This is crazy that I'm thinking this way. I actually think James Harden might average 40 points this year.
Not with Russ, sir.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
I do feel that way.
Well, I was just saying, Wilt Chamberlain is the only player in NBA history to average over 40. He did do it twice. So are you standing by
It's my
James
wild
Harden?
prediction. That's a wild prediction.
That is a wild prediction.
That's wild.
I am standing by that. I think this kid has that ability because of where the game is today, right? It's a 3-point game. James Harden is a great shooter. He's going to take a volume of those shots. He's probably going to average 15 threes. Nobody gets to the free throw line like him. And the system is tailor-made for this guy to put up numbers night in and night out like that. I wouldn't be surprised.
You're almost talking me into it, but you're not talking me into it. So, if he averages 40 points a game, and I realize how dangerous this is for me to say, you can pick any restaurant you want Any restaurant you want, and I'll take you out to dinner.
Okay.
Wow.
And I realize that's a bad. I'm going into dangerous territory.
Listen,
Los Angeles has some nice restaurants.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of an income disparity.
40 for a month. It's a couple months or something like that. He averaged 40.
Okay, I'm just saying.
And
I
a
don't
string
think
of
he's gonna average
30-point
40.
games. I'm telling you, don't be surprised. This man started off the season, first 10 games, 40 points.
Yeah, you're going to be talking a lot of trash if that happens.
That's right. Then he gets an appetizer out of Zach. I think we'll just do it that way throughout the season. Month or two, a little appetizer.
Parcel it out.
And that'll be easier
I
on
just
your
think
wallet.
with Russ is just a different animal as a player than Chris Paul is. He's gonna demand more of the ball, more of the offense. I don't see how you can average 40 with playing with Russ, but maybe you can. I don't know.
What's your wild prediction on Steven Adams' assists going up without
Rebounds?
Rebounds going up.
Biggest
without Russ
jump
there.
ever in defensive rebounding rate ever year to year. Steven Adams last year to this year.
Rebounds off free throws.
He'll be allowed to get some now. Good. That's an easy way to get like 5
Russ
rebounds
is stealing
a game.
his rebounds.
Russ was.
I'm not saying that.
everyone's
That's what was
rebounds.
happening. Stealing is if it's not stealing if you
not.
let him do it.
Yeah. There you go. Wild predictions. Zach, thank you for joining us. Everyone should check out the column on the app on ESPN.com. Coming up, LeBron said after last night's loss that Lakers-Clippers is not a rivalry. Is that BS or real talk? Stephen A. Smith
BS.
can
We got
speak
my
to
guy on
BS
here.
or real talk better than maybe anyone
First
at this
appearance on
network.
the jump.
And he can, not first time, but he is going to be here in
With me on
studio.
here.
First time with you.
40.
First, though, here's our second replay of the day.
40.
We have to talk.
Let's talk.
That'll be different.
First of all, I think his nickname is totally whack. I've never liked Spicy P. I just want the
I'm
words
with
to
you
that. I
on
can't
that.
stand that nickname. However, having said all of that, this is a guy that Masai held on to. Remember why I wanted Paul George. He wanted to hold on to Spicy P.
Yes.
I understand it. And he went out and performed last night. I like it.
Well, you have him pick out a new nickname. Should
Yeah.
Stephen A. pick out a new nickname for Pascal?
We need a new nickname. I can't call him man Spicy P. Sorry.
I think it's a good enough start for them. I'm happy they got to win on ring night. Blake Griffin out until at least November with a hamstring and knee problem. Detroit was a playoff team last year, but remember he was hobbling around. They open against the Pacers tonight. Matt, can the Pistons hold down the fort until Blake returns?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think they could hold down the fort with Blake on the court. I mean, we're not talking about the Pistons doing anything this year. I love Derrick Rose being acquired to that team to help Blake Griffin out, but I just don't see it. I just don't think they have enough.
If this was church, I would say, can I get an amen? Because the fact of the matter is, Tracy McGrady's absolutely right. There's really not much reason to think about the Pistons at all outside of Blake Griffin and, of course, Dwayne Casey. They just don't have that great of a team.
I had been hoping they held on to Joel Johnson. I was surprised that they let that go.
right. I was shocked by
the
that.
team isn't so good. Why not take a flyer
Why not?
and see what he could do? So, Stephen, we picked the following segment just in honor of you. We have the signs out. Kathy, can you roll it, please?
All right.
The ball deserves to go in the crowd after a bull move like that.
I think it's bull. I just thought it was bull.
Don't give me that crap!
Oh, yes, it's time for BS or Real Talk with ESPN's premier determiner of BS or Real Talk. LeBron James was asked by a reporter after last night's game how big a test it was for the Lakers. Here was his response.
I disagree on how big of a test it was. It's the first game. Obviously the NBA is back, and that's what everybody's trying to have the narrative of a rivalry game, and it's a huge test. I think both teams are not who they want to be. We have a lot of room to improve. We're a new group that's coming together. We have a new coaching staff. We have a new system. And it's not a rivalry. We're trying to get better every single day.
Friends, he says it's not a rivalry, BS or Real Talk. The sign's already up. There you go.
I'm disgusted by that comment from LeBron. Kawhi Leonard has come into Los Angeles as the reigning champion and NBA Finals MVP, the New Balance commercials and everything else. I'm coming for you. I dare you to do something about it. The entire basketball world is looking forward to this game last night. And you respond with a passive performance like that on the offensive side of the ball. LeBron James is elite. He's big time. He's on the Mount Rushmore. We get all of that, Matt. Respect for his accomplishments. We know what he can do. But my goodness, talk about not responding to the moment. This is LA. We don't want to hear that this is not a rivalry. You're sharing the same arena. You're sharing the city. You're the two big-time title contenders. And obviously, you're the star, and he's the star for that team. What do you mean it's not a rivalry? What is he thinking about? I don't want to hear that from LeBron James at this particular point or at any point in the season. And I'm sure if you walk the streets of L.A., everybody would agree with me on that point.
He agrees with you.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a rivalry. I mean, you're talking about Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James has history. You go back to when he was on San Antonio Spurs, when he played great defense on LeBron James, when LeBron James was in his prime. Now LeBron James is a little bit older in his 17th year, and Kawhi's in his prime. He got to accept that challenge, and last night he didn't accept it.
Well, look, I think that it is BS that it's not a rivalry. It is a rivalry.
It
Whether
is
you
a
like it or
rivalry.
not, it is a rivalry. I do think we talked about this on the radio. I think some of the passivity, well, he's not looking very passive in this. This just got posted by the LA Lakers.
Right.
I think some of that passivity was intentional. I think he was trying to say, hey, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I said that Anthony Davis, the offense was going to go through him. Watch it. It is going through him.
Am I allowed to ask you a quick
Yeah, you
question?
can.
Why couldn't that have waited till Friday? They play
Well-
Utah. Why did it have to
Utah's
be
good.
open? I'm just saying, I don't mean it, no knocking against Utah. Why did it have to be open at night? TNT's or outside LA Live. That hundreds of people are out there. Everybody's festive, hyped for this game.
Yes.
You're going against Kawhi. Why couldn't this have waited till Friday?
I get it. And I was watching the game, and you look at Pat Beverly. Pat Beverly takes on any challenge that it is on the basketball court. You look at what he tried to do in the playoffs against KD. KD was like, y'all know who I am, right? Y'all know who I am, because we were saying that he was locking him up.
Yep.
Last night, he was guarding LeBron James. Now, I think it's a little psychological warfare on Doc Rivers' part, with putting him on there, because he know LeBron is going to be aggressive for 2 or 3 possessions, then he's going to look to pass the ball. And I just think LeBron doesn't have that mentality all the time of taking it, putting his foot on the gas.
I wouldn't have held it against him if he had it last night and didn't have it Friday. But to not have it last night and then post that photo, that really gets on my nerves, Rachel. It really gets on my nerves.
The Lakers posting the photo. I will send their social media manager to you.
Well, I'm not
both
knocking
to
them.
do.
I don't blame the Lakers.
Next up, we have Kyrie Irving, who a year ago told a crowd of Celtics fans he would come back to Boston if Celtics fans would have him. Yesterday, he said about picking the Nets, quote, "It was an easy decision. I was always coming here regardless." Guys, was Kyrie saying he was going to Brooklyn regardless, BS or real talk, friends? Woo.
It's BS. Kyrie would have went to New York if Kevin Durant had gone to the Knicks.
By the way, the Nets are New York also.
I understand that. I'm from Queens, so it's Brooklyn, Rachel.
Right, I
I get to say that as a native New Yorker, but I understand.
Yeah, so you feel that if KD had said, no, I really want to go to the Knicks, he would have been going there anyway.
Yes.
I feel the same way. I mean, we heard the talks of these guys teaming up, and I just felt like, wherever KD was going to go, he was going to follow suit.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that Kyrie meant what he said when he spoke to that group of fans in Boston. I do. I think he meant it. I talked to him that week. He meant it. I don't think it was so smart of him to say it.
Say it, right.
Why say it then? Things change. We've watched Kyrie Irving for years. Things in his world change. Things changed over the course of the season. Was he going to the Nets regardless? I don't know. I agree that
He's an intellectual. He's a thinker. He really, really is. And he's really smart. He's a brilliant basketball player. But I do believe that he was smart enough to know KD is the truth and a half. And if KD was going to the Knicks, he wasn't going to the Brooklyn Nets.
But Kyrie was pushing the Nets between the
That's
two
true.
of them.
He was.
So,
He
absolutely.
was.
All right, with the full return of NBA games, we got a little League Pass game of the night. Finally, our segment's back. Knicks at Spurs. What better way to kick off the season than Marcus Morris going to San Antonio? He reneged on the deal with the Spurs. Member in the offseason chose the Knicks. So, Stephen A., Mr. Knicks fan, will there be a little extra motivation for San Antonio tonight?
I think it will, because he left them high and dry to go to the Knicks. But how could you do this to me? How could I show up on my first appearance on the jump and you bring up the Knicks, Rachel?
It's because I love you.
The
And
Knicks?
It's your team. I felt like,
Knicks and the Spurs.
This is a new season. It's like opening day in baseball. You never know
At
what's
least
going to happen.
it was a finals
It'd be
preview.
nice.
I thought y'all had love for me.